What's up, guys? Coach Nate here from The Running Experience, and in a second, Coach Morgan, talking about 4 training mistakes you should be avoiding in your marathon training. These are common mistakes, everything from the right data that you should be following, how do you figure out if you should be a high or a low mileage runner, the type of plan you should be choosing, and how you deal with those pesky injuries. We're gonna get into them and more. All right, so mistake number 1 is training without data. Now, don't get me wrong, I like to throw my watch to the side and go out and run on field. In fact, I think we perform best when we are really well tuned into our body. But the point of this clip is to really understand how we can use numbers so that we get a better sense of what that is and avoid some of those common training mistakes. Now, mistake number 1 is not really having a clear sense of what our finishing time is going to be. If you look at any incredible world championship, Olympic level finish, it's very rarely a surprise to the athlete. It's actually just an execution of what they know their body can do and what they've practiced. And it's the same for you. So my recommendation, get some data points on your calendar. Run a half marathon 6 to 8 weeks before your race. That will tell you where your fitness is right now, where your ability to execute is right now, and that will give you the most reliable information for your upcoming marathon. The second thing to think about with data is tracking either your mileage and or your training zones. Now, what this is going to do is make sure all of your runs have a specific purpose, specifically with the training zones. That could be measured by heart rate or by pace or some combination thereof. You can even start tracking with power now. We can't go too far into that in this video, but that's also possible via, say, the Stride app. That makes sure that, we avoid the middle, the ugly middle, where most runners, all their runs just are at the same pace, the same intensity all the time. When I start to break out of that, I go way above, and then when I'm recovering, I go way below. That actually makes sure that I'm getting the most adaptation and the most improvements with my running. If I'm not training with data and I don't know, I get stuck in the middle, things get ugly, and I get on that plateau. And then finally, I want to use that data to help with my recovery. And this is actually where the mileage come in, not necessarily the high points, but noticing like, hey, I've been building up my mileage for a couple weeks. I should have a low mileage week to help myself recover. You could even get fancier and start looking at your heart rate variability. You could track that via different, I think Garmin does it now. I know the Whoop band does it. As well as tracking resting heart rate, other things like that, just to see how your body's responding. So I use all these data points. They can really help me make better informed decisions. I have a better feel for myself. I can go and execute better when it really counts.
All right, guys, so mistake number 2 is not following a training plan that includes warm-ups, cool-downs, and proper strength and mobility work. A lot of times you'll see a training plan that is just built purely on running and mileage. It's really, really important. You'll see it across our channel all the time to be adding in that warm-ups, cool-downs, and strength and mobility. They're gonna help prevent injuries, which we want you to get there on race day. We want you to perform and do your best. Personally, I've been adding in 2 to 3 times strength work and definitely mobility every other day, especially after my long runs, and that has helped me immensely with the marathon training. If you need help or want to learn a little bit more about some strength and mobility work, check out a lot of our videos. We have tips and tricks on any kind of injury that may occur or any kind of twinge you might feel, something along those lines. Also follow our training plan. We give in-depth details on what you should be doing every single day training for the marathon.
All right, mistake number 3 is ignoring that weird pain that quote unquote goes away after 10 minutes into your run. Only for it to really come back full on, maybe a month later, and you are wholly unprepared to deal with the consequences of that injury. And the reason why is because you didn't have the right habits established early on. You didn't have a good baseline for how your body is feeling and is supposed to feel. And then all of a sudden, the car crashed, it became too late, and now you're in a very stressful position of being later into your progression of training, and then all of a sudden having to contemplate a much significantly longer layoff. And I'm going to give you a real world example. I've been running a lot more this year. I've been increasing my mileage, and one of the things I have to be careful of is my left calf and Achilles. And one of the things that I notice is I can run a couple days and I could get away with it without any rolling, but after a while, that pain starts to creep in. And first, it warms up after 1 or 2 minutes, and then 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and then it's following me around all day and it's really stiff. But if I were to ever do an assessment of myself and say, hey, I know from my physical therapist friends that normal, happy, healthy tissue should feel pressure but no pain. If I get on a roller, if I go around and pinch my Achilles, I'm like, you know what, this is a little tender, because I just did 5 or 6 days of running in a row last week while I was in Boston. I didn't get a chance to mobilize as much as I wanted to. Excuse me. So I feel a little pain here. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this information while I can still run. I'm going to get on a roller. I'm going to work on my calves a lot more. I'm going to add a little bit of strength training in there. I'm going to modify my running, take this in, and clear this up. And then when this gets better, I know I can amp my mileage back up. So get on that daily and weekly mobility habit. Cover all your bases like we say in a lot of our videos, just as a general rule, and then any area where you're behind the 8 ball a little bit, you should be hitting that area every single day. If you want to know what that is, just search whatever body part on our YouTube channel. You're going to see a mobility and injury prevention video that's going to show up, that's going to help you out.
All right, so mistake number 4 is not following or not completing the right amount of mileage for you. And when I say that, it is specific to you, the right amount of mileage. It's not what your friends are doing. It's not what Des Linden's doing. I know I've fallen into the trap of maybe Strava stalking a little bit and getting some serious FOMO from their long runs and what they're doing. But if you know you have a race coming up, you're following your training plan, so just make sure you're trying to stick to it as best as possible. That's going to be the right distance for you. On the other side of that, if you say are going out for a long run and you need to cut that back because you are not feeling that great, you maybe have a twinge in the knee, something along those lines, know that that's okay. That's the right amount of mileage for you at that time, because recovery is also just as important as that long run. Same thing when you're out on the track, maybe not pushing as hard, maybe taking it back a rep or two, making sure that you are pushing hard enough, but you are not overexerting yourself every single week where you fall into the trap of being sick and leading to injuries and things like that, because we want you to be happy and healthy on race day, not injured and tired. Thanks for tuning in today with us, guys. Hopefully we gave you a few tips and tricks that are going to help you have a stronger marathon down the line. If you're looking for a training plan, check out our 7-day free trial to our marathon training program. The link is in the description below. And make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Drop us any comments below if you have any other questions regarding this program. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. We're putting out videos each and every week, not just on marathon training, but on nutrition, strength tips, all fun stuff like that. So I hope to see you guys in the next video.